How's everyone doing so far? Yeah, enjoying the conference? You guys don't sound excited at all. Come on. There we go. That's what we want to hear. All right, so super excited to be here. I get to interview some absolute legends. I'm inspired by these guys on a personal level. They're not only creating visuals, they're also creating immersive experiences. And I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves because I think they'll do a much better job than I will. To let you guys know a little bit about me, I'm part of the Render Network team on the community and marketing side. And so, we're going to get started with Will, who's doing some really cool stuff combining OpenAI Sora and 3D tools. Then Kyle's going to talk about one of his recent projects in Dubai. And Josh is going to talk about some really cool stuff that he's doing in Charleston, South Carolina. And so let's kick it off. Will, mic is yours.
Hi everyone, my name is Will Selviz. Living in Toronto, originally from Venezuela. I'm a multi-dimensional designer, being experimenting with 3D animation and augmented reality and virtual reality for over 10 years now. And really my niche is at the intersection of design and technology. So how do these technologies intersect, both in marketing, adoption, and again, I'll talk a little bit about how that looks in terms of those fields. But super excited to be here today. Thank you guys as well.
Hey, wow, I really sound like shit. My name's Kyle Gordon, and I'm an experiential designer and visual artist. Been doing experiences for about 10 years in the music industry, and now more doing architectural design. And I'm passionate about bringing people together in physical spaces and using the digital to augment physical things.
Let's also give him some grace. He just flew in from Dubai, so you can clearly hear it in his voice.
Thanks, guys. Hey, hi. Hey, guys, I'm Josh Pierce. I'm an artist and motion graphics designer. I've been working in Cinema 4D and motion graphics for a long, long time. Started with Cinema 4D in like 2002, and I've been a 3D designer for a long time. And in the last 5 to 10 years, I've become, sort of my own visual artist and doing my own thing. And in the last 5 years, I've committed myself to becoming a meditation teacher. So I've been using art and design to bring people into meditative spaces in order to benefit mental health and to help people to ground themselves through art and use art as a form of therapy. And I use this technology to help me communicate these ideas to people who want to learn more about how to connect with themselves and how to grow personally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, as we navigate like all the ins and outs of working a corporate life, living in America, living in society and trying to make a living and navigate all the challenges of life. So that's what I get up to.
Love that. All right, so Will's gonna show you a little bit about like what he's working on, and actually bring it to life, so that we're just not here talking.
So a little bit about my background. Again, we'll go by the title of design technologist, and there's a little bit of a chat about multidimensional designer, what that even means, because it's a relatively new term, but not really. Bit of a client work. And one case that I want to talk to you about is specifically Coachella. Again, how my beginning is as a photographer / videographer. This is like my first year of university. I was hired to, again, tour with photography with bands and musicians and so on. And a little bit of a trajectory here just to show you like from like early 2010s till now. And this is one of the projects I was actually able to bring to life thanks to the Render Network, which is creating visuals. I apologize for some of the formatting. It was messed up when my OCD kicked in just now when I saw this cropping here that happened from Google Slides to PowerPoint. But essentially, to give you a bit of an example of like how my trajectory as a photographer to a 3D artist. And again, I've been learning 3D all throughout the process, but it's more so the capabilities of being able to push what you can provide clients when you have something like the Render Network, which allows you to then tap into more render power. But just a little bit of a projection mapping here at the Sahara tent at Coachella. And just another media, or Jules this morning was talking about multimodal media and so on. So this is a little bit of an example of how some of the assets that can be leveraged for 3D VFX and so on can be also used for, in this case, a scavenger hunt partnership with Meta, which whoever found 3 flowers was able to win tickets for next year at Coachella. So just, again, marketing connected with augmented reality, 3D, and so on. A little bit of a case study here. Anyone from Canada here? I don't know. This is Toronto. Hi. This is actually for the Air Max 95 Toronto edition. So again, some of these videos won't play back, so we'll leave it with some of this on the side. You have to believe me, whether there is 3D here on that video over there, but again, we'll skip through that. And it just goes to show the fake out of home kind of projects that I've been working on, as well as, again, 4D billboard, which has the animatic, but not the actual billboard. So you have to believe me, there's a billboard there. And again, just a GIF here, just showing different use cases of how these assets that you create for 3D are leveraged for marketing and so on. So really over time, what I became was this person was interested in 3D as a whole and the different applications across different channels, and really global partnerships is selling. Again, I work with the Toronto Raptors and the Maple Leafs, both for the NBA and the NHL, and they'll come to me and say, hey, we have this campaign, we have all these 3D assets, how can we make the most bang for the buck for all this 3D work that we're doing? So just a little bit of an example here, and ways that this could create virality and marketing events and so on. And in this case, the box for the Air Max 95 I was talking about earlier was gamified into this sort of showcase on the left. But I'm here to talk to you about Protopica, which is touching more on Gen AI and some of the emerging technologies. Really, I don't want to just confine it to Gen AI because it's been going for a while. Protopica is a project that I started with Manuel Sensili, picture on the right. Together, we decided to join forces because we've been working on what emerging technologies really means for the future of storytelling for creatives or creators who are in remote parts of the world that don't have access to GPUs, don't have access to computers. So really started with a foundation that bought a bunch of computers, people were remoting into them, and actually through credits from Render as well, we were able to give people the possibility of creating freelancing using the network. And this goes hand in hand with about a year ago when we were giving access to Sora. We were amongst the first 5 to 10 artists to ever see Sora outside of the research team, and we worked with them for about a year developing the product, which meant we were also asked to create a film called Protopica, which was shared with the world when it was announced as a model. The research paper was announced as a model. So hypothetically, there's a video here, but there's a giant pixelated picture, so I'm going to go back to... Let's see. A little bit of a preview of Protopica, and really what we're really after here is how do we combine emerging technologies with digital preservation, and again, a little bit of our culture is in this. We'll show it for now with no audio. We invite you to go on Protopica at protopica.world. In the meantime, since there's no audio, I'll talk over it. And really the purpose of this film was to showcase the possibilities with 2 features from OpenAI's model, which is still to this day, a year later, very ahead of its time in terms of using Remix and Blend. Remix allows you to use text to modify a video, a specific part of the video, and Blend generates the frames between 2. So in this case, you just saw that cheetah turn into a wolf, and so on. There's different points here where we created a different, again, a metamorphosis between animal and humans, only possible in this case with this model at the time. So to give a bit of context, Protopica really is about what are the implications of this technologies when people are using it at a granular level, when someone that has 1 year of experience with 3D to 10 years of experience can use a single frame to then go from frame A to frame B using something like Sora, using something like Luma. We're not confined to a specific use case, but I'll skip through this so I can give the gentlemen here also enough time to go through their slides. And let's see.
Pretty awesome stuff, Will. How do you guys feel about it so far? I watched it with sound. It's a very different experience, but you'll have to do it on your own time.
Thank you. So where are we at now with Protopica? We're using TouchDesigner, other tools, again, real-time rendering, to use the Muse headband. Anyone familiar here with Muse or EEG or brain connectivity? So in this case, it's a meditation headband that connects to TouchDesigner. It reads your brainwaves. We then pass these values onto a real-time render engine that's able to render out your visuals of your thoughts and emotion. There's a video, can't show it because of the conversion of the slides. But we invite you to check it out on Protopica as well. And if you're going to be in Barcelona for Sonar, hit us up. We'll be there as well, exhibiting the V2. But in this case, a really important part that we are after here is modular storytelling. So depending on your mental state, different parts of the story are either generated in real time, like the voiceover using AI, or swapped with pre-rendered graphics. So in this case, we're using the render network to pre-render some 3D visuals that are swapped depending on your mental state as you're watching it. So you've probably heard of the image model as well. This is something that very recently we were alpha testing for a few months before it came out. Studio Ghibli inspired mugshot of me and Manu. But really, what we're doing at the moment is teaching courses, whether it's at Oxford, Harvard, Stanford, McGill, Oak University. So we're really interested in diving deeper into the workflows that this implies, skipping through some of this. But really, we're using our IP that we're building with Protopica to show examples here of what could be possible from the inception of this model, which again has been working in the background for about 2 years, only came out about a month ago or a couple of weeks ago. But the implications are huge. You have again, everyone's familiar with this very viral thing that came out recently, but this from about 2 months ago. And it's just showing like what it really means for world building, what it means for creativity, what it means for seeing your IP in different media without really having to compromise a lot of things. So in this case, there's multimodal use cases for characters that we've been working for a while. And again, the fact that we have a 3D background and we have a now technical background gives us a bit of excitement towards, again, keep building this universe as we go. This, again, just projection mapping and things using the Protopica visuals for dinner, and leave it at that. But thank you.
All right, next up is Kyle Gordon, and we're excited to see what he's working on in Dubai. Also using the render network. Something went wrong. Doesn't it always with technology? Okay, there we are. Now hopefully the internet loads properly. Let's see. Well, maybe while we wait for this to load, because I feel like it might take a little while, if anyone has like one quick question for Will while this loads, we'll take a quick question. Will, the pressure is on. No questions? All right.
How do I find my tools? Honestly, there's a lot of groups of creatives who have creative groups, and it's a lot of word of mouth. Also, some brands might reach out and say, hey, we have this new cool thing, we want you to alpha test and so on, which, again, I'm very careful about, just based, I want to do a bit of research of who's doing it and why. But so far, it's been a lot of, again, old school YouTubing, the latest thing. 2-minute papers on YouTube, I recommend. Thank you.
All right. So just some context, don't go on an active construction site without a face mask, or you'll sound like me. So basically the work that I've been doing for the last 10, 15 years has been taking digital things, animation, and building immersive experiences with them. This is the HP and Coachella collaboration with Odessa from a couple years ago that I worked on with the render network. Made it possible to render all of these things. I think they were, what, like 16, 14K, something like that. It's pretty crazy. And this is some of my work. And I think after the 2021 NFT bubble burst, I was like super burned out from doing digital art animation. And I asked myself, what's next? And I thought that 3D artists are super diversified in their work and they're very flexible. You can do film, animation. There's a lot of principles about lighting, texturing, like the list goes on, as you can see here. How can you take those skills into the physical world and amplify them a little bit more? So then I started doing this. And this is what I do now. I spend a lot of my time in Notion and Figma and pointing around and giving people directions. But behind the scenes, I'm still using a lot of 3D to kind of create physical experiences. Some of these examples are actually from architecture and interior design project, and using render network for a lot of the previs, as well as animated digital screens and installations that are in the space. And so this was the first project I did in San Francisco. It was for a company called Build Space. They wanted an office space that looked like a Japanese alleyway with like ramen shops and all sorts of stuff. So we basically used AI to generate life-size vinyl prints and do like a bunch of like comic prints on the wall. This is like some of the 3D stuff. Some other renders done with Octane and Render Network. And then basically using 3D texture maps to bake down lighting information in 3D, and then me hand cut them with an X-Acto knife and place them on phone booths. Which is, I don't recommend it, it's a lot of work. And then to the project I'm working on now for a blockchain company called Polygon. For the last year, I've been designing their campus in Dubai. It's a place to bring together different communities and blockchains out there and serve as an event space. And I also have no background in interior design or any of this stuff. So this next slide, we'll talk a little bit about like the tool stack. My firm belief is that you don't need to have the perfect tool to do something. So whatever you have at your disposal, whether it's Octane, Render, Cinema 4D, AutoCAD, whatever, just use what you have at disposal. And you can always find people who can do the technical things later, like engineers or people who can actually manifest this stuff. So here's some of the previs stuff done with Octane and Render Network. And this is kind of where we're at as of last week, building out all of the actual structures before all the lighting and stuff goes in. So yeah, mood boarding, Midjourney, Instagram, ChatGPT. You used a lot of AI to basically figure out like standardization for furniture size and stuff, because all the furniture is also custom. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Lighting previs as well, Lux. I know Octane does a great job at simulating like wattage of real lights and stuff as well. So all of that is simulated and then applied to actual real strip lights. Here's some of the photos that I just took this last week. All the lighting's going in now, so I'll be sharing a bunch of that, which is really the coolest part. And yeah, final note I'll just say is don't be dependent on your tools, especially with like AI stuff. Use your skills, your knowledge, your problem solving to solve creative problems, to keep yourself flexible. Yeah, travel light in my case. For a lot of the stuff I've been doing the last few weeks has been using an iPad and tapping into my server across the world, using the render network to do a lot of like on-the-fly rendering and stuff. So yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Kyle. Awesome work, and kudos on doing it, and you know, being a trooper out here, man. Hey guys, I'm Josh. Yeah, I just wanted to share with you just some pieces and some stuff that I've been working on. Yeah, like you'll hear a lot of technical stuff here today. A lot of new technologies, a lot of emerging things. Like what I focus on primarily is human experience and how art can connect us to the relationship that we have with ourselves and how that relationship translates to the relationship that we have with others and with the world, you know. I think art is one of the most powerful mediums that we have for communication and for healing and for, you know, grounding ourselves in a good mental health space. A lot of us that are in motion graphics and production art, we deal with a lot of burnout and overwhelm, and it's not often looked at that what we do and how we do it can actually be a part of reversing that process, getting less stressed. These two guys are also both into, you talked a little bit about the headset, the Muse headset,
Right.
which is an amazing piece of technology. Lets you look at EEGs or brainwaves, and sort of help guide meditations in that way. And you spoke about immersive experiences. And so we're all sort of on the same page here, and I'm probably a little bit more on the woo-woo side of things with spirituality. I'm also a meditation teacher. I spend a lot of time on the phone with people, on Zoom calls with people, teaching them how to get in touch with their bodies, how to get in touch with their breathing, how to get grounded. So in the last year or so, I've been releasing more and more guided meditations. So I'll take you through some more of my work. This is why I make art. I try to create portals into presence, and I try to offer a visual language for healing, and I try to remind people that they are safe, whole, and here. And originally my Instagram feed was really about helping people to pause in the middle of their doom scrolling, take a breath, and come back to the present moment, because I feel like we're so go, go, go all the time that we just don't necessarily have these moments to stop and look up at the sky, look at the trees, suddenly see the sunset, suddenly see the moon there. These are things that help us to get grounded and to stay connected. So this is why I make art. And like I said, I've been creating guided meditations. I post them to YouTube. I teach meditation. And currently the project that I'm working on right now is we're creating an immersive meditation space, which is a 360 wraparound projection mapped space where the individual is going to come in. There will be 10 modules. It'll be an introduction to meditation, and then each progressive module will take the breathing techniques and the meditation techniques from the previous, and it will build on that as you go forward. And the facility is actually it's a mental health recovery center. It's holistic healing. They're using EMF frequency rooms. They have sound baths. They have float tanks. It's also a medical facility. So there's a doctor, who's overseeing the patients. Some of them are there inpatient, and some of them are outpatient. But they'll all be using the facilities, and they'll be using this meditation room, in order to be able to ground themselves into learning these mindfulness techniques that are proven across all forms of psychology and science to be beneficial and helpful, and some of the most non-interfering, non-drug related ways of treating things that are super common, not just in our industry, but in lots of professional industries. So this is a mock-up of what the room is going to look like. It's a very intimate space. It's going to wrap around, so we'll have a projector overhead. And this is basically what the mock-up is. And they're currently in construction, and they're doing, the AV people are actually on site right now, and I have to talk to them after this. So we're right in the middle of building this. And this is going to open hopefully by the fall of this year. And this is just sort of more an example of, this is one of my guided meditations. If you go to my YouTube, you can sit and listen to me talk and learn some breathing techniques. And so that's on my YouTube. As far as the render tech, building building these spaces is I really need, I really need the power of the render network to render these things at 8K and to do all that. And it looks like, so last piece just to show you that. And, this is another one that's on YouTube. You can go and check it out. And there's my info. That's all I got. Thank you.
Wow.
All right, so we are pressed for time, but we'll take one or two questions. Ramon was okay with that. So any questions for any of these guys up here? First off, thank you as well. Fascinating work.
Hi
Hi guys, I just want to say that was really interesting, all very interesting subjects. Is there a way we can contact you after this? We have your socials, like on X or something.
My stuff's here. That's great. So
Contact me.
but you don't want to talk to me.
For sure, yeah, definitely want to like check out all the info, like all the brain stuff is amazing.
Thank you. For me, it's Will Selviz on everything. So
Yeah, it's
probably
all
see my
good.
name somewhere in the schedule. But yeah.
And yeah, it's very like this is a very it's an awesome way to actually utilize all the new technology to like push it different directions. And I was kind of surprised by what I saw. Kind of, I thought I'd see some apps and stuff, but this is like straight up with using interactivity, using real life. So this is very interesting. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, all right, guys. Thanks for coming and being a part of this. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Edgar.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's all.